Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us and always being part of us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahari Kajura, but first are the headlines. Cabinet strong on wetlands, KCCA. Chadian president pardons 259 jailed protesters. In sports news today, Kampala Queens become the 50th FWSL champions. Away from that, the cabinet decision to exempt a number of wetlands in Kampala from repossession by the government of conservation was based on wrong advice, a senior City Hall official has said. We have more on this report.
Mr. David Luyimbazi, the Deputy Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority, said claims that the environmentally fragile areas had lost their ecological values were detective. The basis on which the cabinet formed the decision seems to have been faulty because the observation on ground revealed a different situation, he said in an interview with the TV Africa. He added those particular wetlands were categorized as having no ecological value and drainage function. Cabinet based on that to vanquish them, but when you go on the ground, that is not true. In technical speak, the term vanquishing, according to the National Environment Management Authority, refers to the declaration of an eco-fragile area, such as a wetland, unviable for restoration on the understanding that it has lost the ecological value and function.
Well, thank you so much, reporter. Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back for the break. In our international news today, Angelique Kidjo named among Polar Music Prize winners. The recipients of this year's Polar Music Prize, widely regarded as industry's equivalent of a Nobel Prize, have just been announced. We have more on this report.
The founder of Island Records, Chris Blackwell, who is credited with bringing Bob Marley to a global audience, has been also rewarded. The other winners are the Beninese singer Angelique Kidjo and the Estonian composer Arvo Pärt, who last year regained the title of the most performed living composer. The award celebrates the three laureates for their achievements in music. It's the third time in the history of the award that three laureates have won. Sir Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan and Dizzy Gillespie have all won in the past. The award was created by Abba's manager, Stig Anderson.
Away from that, Chadian President Mahamat Idris Deby Itno on Monday pardoned 259 people out of the 262 jailed in December during deadly confrontations between police and protesters in the capital, Jamena. We have more on this report.
They have been convicted for offenses including unauthorized assembly, destruction of property, arson, violence, and assault during the clashes in which 73 people died. It comes days after 380 rebels sentenced to life for the death of former ruler Idris Deby Itno, the current president's father, were also pardoned in an apparent peace gesture. The late Idris Deby died during an operation against rebels in 2021. He had ruled the country for 30 years.
Away from that, a prominent Ethiopian composer who was also a nun has died in Jerusalem, where she had lived reclusively in an Ethiopian monastery over nearly 40 years. We have more on this report.
Often referred to as the Piano Queen, she was ordained as a nun aged 21 and was among Ethiopia's first classical pianists. Her first record was released in the mid-1960s when Ethiopia had a thriving jazz and classical music scene. Maryam achieved global fame in 2006 when her music featured in albums of Ethiopian music from previous decades. The Homeless, Wandera, and The Madman's Laughter are among her well-known compositions.
We take a quick break. We shall come back with business, health, and sports. Welcome back for the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Talking matters business, Kenya's Independent Police Oversight Authority says it is investigating 2 incidents on Monday where police failed to protect private property in the capital, Nairobi. It is also looking into the shooting allegedly by the police that caused death and injuries in the western city of Kisumu.
Crowds invaded the farm owned by former President Uhuru Kenyatta's family on the outskirts of the city, stealing sheep and felling trees before setting the farm on fire. There were no police on site as the invasion went on during the day, apparently in retaliation for the second of opposition protests. A gas cylinder factory linked to opposition leader Raila Odinga was also vandalized. At least 1 person was shot dead during the protests in Kisumu, where the police confronted demonstrators who burned tires and barricaded roads. IPOA has called on the police to abide by the law in exercising their constitutional function of protection of life and property in line with the Police Act.
In a health news today, Namibian cheetah relocated to India dies. 1 of 8 cheetahs flown to India from Namibia in September last year died on Monday. Now, Namibia's Environment Ministry spokesperson, Maryam said the cheetah aged 5 died of kidney failure.
He said the cheetah, named Sasha, was under medical care for the past 3 months. The female cheetah was not put into the wild, but had been in quarantine for observation and treatment, he said. The other cheetahs are doing very well. Currently, 4 of them are out in the wild. They are hunting and being monitored, he said. The 8 cheetahs, 5 females and 3 males, were flown from Namibia to India's Kuno National Park to reintroduce their population after 70 years of extinction. They were relocated as part of the Project Cheetah, the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project.
In a sports news today, Kampala Queens became the 5th champions of the FUFA Women's Super League after their 2-0 home win against Uganda Christian University. Lady Cardinals propelled them on an unassailable 40 points on Sunday. We have more.
They take over from Chic Corporate, who are having a season to forget due to a player exodus and poor results. A goal from Shamira Naluja in the first half and a late own goal from UCU defender Bridget Nabisalu confirmed what many had expected from the beginning of the season, and they have done it in style with 4 games to spare. Naluja has scored 5 important goals this season and will probably only have teammate Shakira Mutibwa, who did the dirty work in defensive midfield when games were tighter in the first half of the season, to compete with for the most valuable player MVP accolade. For coach Hamza Lutalo, it is triumph of defiance because many said at the start of the last season that she was new to women's football, but she proved her worth winning the league.
It is this particular time that I thank you for joining us and as being part of us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which will keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.